This is the audiobook version of Navigating the Military Transition from Military.Transition.org. Copyright 2024 by Military.Transition.org. The process of transitioning from the military into the civilian workforce is difficult, stressful, and confusing. This observation is based on 2 decades of coaching service members, along with thousands of interviews and survey responses from active duty members and veterans. Despite formal transition programs, today's service members underestimate the challenges of transition and remain underprepared for what's next. This book was developed to help members understand what's ahead so they can navigate the transition unknown and excel in their post-military careers. So, let's get started. The decision to separate or retire from the military is personal, but the challenges of becoming a civilian again are universal. Research with veterans highlights 3 facts. Number 1. Every service member will eventually transition. Number 2. You are responsible for what follows your military service. And number 3. Planning for what's next should begin as early as possible. Every military member has different aspirations for their post-military career, combined with different skills and experiences. So there's no single best transition solution. However, research shows that there are consistent best practices. This guidebook is divided into 5 parts, and each will focus on a single best practice based upon decades of helping members transition, combined with research among veterans. Here's what we'll cover in this audiobook. In Part 1, we'll talk about why you should start as early as possible. In Part 2, we'll discuss the importance of having a plan, along with how to begin. In Part 3, we'll address the issue of networking prior to taking off the uniform, along with some important lessons about networking. In Part 4, we'll talk about the importance of translating military skills and experience so employers understand the value you bring to their organization. And finally, in Part 5, we'll discuss why you need to be patient and persistent throughout the process. Let's begin with the first best practice, starting early. The first best practice is to start your transition early. This might seem obvious, but the unfortunate truth is that many veterans wait until the last minute to start preparing for life after the military. They know a change is coming, but don't realize the magnitude and the effort required to be successful until it's too late. The simple fact is that transitioning requires time, and the sooner you begin, the more likely you'll develop realistic and achievable goals along with actionable plans. Research shows that 59% of veterans say their transition took more time than expected. Let that fact sink in as we dive into the importance of getting started early. There are consistent reasons members use to justify delaying adequate preparation until it's almost too late. You can read about these in our Transition Guidebook series, along with ways to overcome these convenient excuses. Please visit www.military.transition.org/ebooks to read or download the full series. Some service members have the perception that troops are better trained and more capable than their civilian counterparts. This mindset often results in veterans thinking they just need to send in a resume, and a civilian position comparable to their current responsibilities can be easily obtained. Other military members are told they're America's best, which leads them to believe that companies are eager to hire them. Overconfidence reinforces this perception and further delays preparation for the next phase. Why prepare when you think you're the best and everyone wants you, right? Another fact service members overlook is that decisions made while in uniform can impact further options. This should be taken into consideration when thinking about military career tracks, assignments, and training. Veterans often describe the journey out of uniform as if they were departing familiar territory for the unknown. Our research highlights 3 categories of members that embark on this journey into the unknown. The first group of transitioning service members enters what we describe as the complete unknown. These members are totally unprepared for what they'll find. On top of this, most are generally unaware of their lack of preparation to overcome the unknown. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night in a foreign land where you don't speak the language, you have no clothing, water, or anything that would help you navigate to safety. We call this situation the transition ambush, and it's the worst case scenario. These veterans struggle and are more likely to consider harmful behaviors to escape the scenario. Those who survive the ambush live with career, family, or financial wounds that could have been avoided. Around 24% of service members are in this group. The second group of transitioning service members enters what we can describe as the relative unknown. These members have some knowledge of what's ahead, combined with an understanding of their marketable skills. In this scenario, you wake up in a foreign land, knowing some of the language and terrain, as well as having clothing and gear which ensure your survival. The majority of service members fall into this group, and the level of unknown and discomfort are a direct reflection of their preparation. Post-military satisfaction is higher compared to the first example, and roughly 45% of service members are in this group. The third group enters the unfamiliar. They have specific skills and connections that allow them to avoid the unknown, which makes it the best case scenario. In this situation, you wake up in a nearby city where you speak the language and have adequate resources, clothing, gear, water, and a phone. More importantly, a friend awaits your arrival and escorts you to a desirable location within a short period. Members of this group often have in-demand skills. Examples might include pilots, engineers, medical, IT, cyber, and acquisition professionals, or individuals with unique clearances. This group benefits greatly by leveraging a strong and established network. Around 31% of service members are in this group. For the majority of veterans, the lesson is clear. Preparation and networking reduce the unknown. I'll repeat this since it's important to understand and apply this lesson. Preparation and networking are the best ways to reduce the transition unknown. As you get started, another fact to consider is that informed decisions are better than uninformed decisions. Let me say that a different way. The more you know about an issue, the better prepared you are to make decisions related to that topic, right? The same concepts hold true for career and life planning after serving. Prior to entering the military, you were probably thinking about long-term options. For some, this led to college and a commission. For others, it led to visiting a recruiter, followed by boot camp. Before their first day in uniform, service members learned about career opportunities in the military. The intent now is to think about life after serving in the same context. This isn't easy, but you're only cheating yourself and your family by not getting started. An easy step is to sign up for the mandatory transition class. These programs should be completed as early as possible, but preparation must go further. A concern expressed by some after attending is that there's too much information in such a short period. Another is that course materials don't account for varied experience levels and career aspirations. A final concern is that instructors have limited private sector experience. All of these are valid and reinforce the need to take ownership of your future. The last concern highlights the need to check all sources of transition and career information. Self-proclaimed experts are everywhere. Their intentions are noble, but some lessons don't scale to the large military community or the entire civilian employment landscape. The lesson is simple, but important to learn before you start this journey. Invest the time and do your homework prior to making the transition. Once the decision to retire or separate has been made, the transition should be your top priority. Don't rely on others to define or derail your future, and don't feel guilty about preparing for what's next. Remember, every member will eventually transition, and the military needs you to be successful in your follow-on life. The next best practice on this journey is to have a transition plan. Now that you understand the importance of starting early, the next step is to develop a transition plan with objectives and timelines. The plan will evolve as you progress, so don't be afraid to adapt along the way. However, realize that an initial plan is critical to getting started. Research indicates that 83% of veterans say that having a plan is extremely or very important to a successful transition. We recommend journaling as a planning tool that helps you gain clarity on issues and explore solutions. Invest in a notebook and be honest as you explore ideas and paths. Please read our ebooks about planning for and after the military transition. Both have useful exercises that can help you get started. These can be downloaded free of charge at our website, www.militarytransition.org/ebooks. The key lesson is that you alone are responsible for your transition, and effective planning takes time. Another important lesson is that you can't hit a target that doesn't exist. So right now is the best time to define what your post-military target should be. The time you invest determining your ideal career and lifestyle after serving will pay significant long-term dividends. and prevent missteps on this journey. After 2 decades of working with veterans, here are some of the elements we recommend you incorporate into your initial transition plan. Number 1, self-understanding. Knowing yourself is fundamental to a smooth and successful transition. Think about what you've done previously, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, the times that you were successful, and the times when you weren't. Write these in your journal and continue reflecting on these questions. This process takes time, so don't rush. Number 2, career goals. Think deeply about this topic and don't limit ideas to your military role or specialty. Also, don't just look at past or current duties. Ask others to participate as you gather insights and explore the paths available into your civilian career. Here are the only 3 paths you can take into the civilian workforce, which is the best path for your situation and long-term goals. Path number 1, the education path. This means completing school or specialized training to improve your career options or salary. This path should be viewed only as a temporary route that leads to future employment or entrepreneurship opportunities. Path number 2, the employment path. This is working for someone else. Path number 3, the entrepreneurship path. This is working for yourself. The next element, number 3, that should be part of your plan is family considerations. Location, educational opportunities, proximity to friends and relatives, cost of living, weather, medical, and existing health conditions have an impact on your quality of life. These items should be discussed with your family as part of the planning process. The fourth element that should be part of your plan is to identify specific actions. Once you know yourself and what you want next, along with family preferences, you are ready to identify specific actions to achieve your goals. Be sure to write these in your journal and adjust as you learn and grow on this journey. The last element, number 5, should be to develop a timeline with milestones. This means identifying waypoints within your plan, putting these on the calendar, and holding yourself accountable. Many transition-related tasks will be executed concurrently, and these will shape how your plan evolves. This is a natural part of planning, so don't be afraid to make positive adjustments. As you develop a transition plan, remember to ask questions. Learn and explore as many future options as possible. Read books, listen to podcasts, and study both careers and industries of interest. One of the best ways to learn and grow during this process is through your network. Building a strong and effective professional network is the next transition best practice. Building your network. Best practice number 3. Research with veterans shows that networking is the most recommended aspect of a successful transition. In fact, 86% of veterans say that networking or building your network are extremely or very important. Unfortunately, many service members don't learn how to effectively network until late in their transition or until they've already started their civilian career. This best practice is all about building a strong network before taking off the uniform and continuing to expand after the transition. Networking is a key aspect of professional development, both inside and outside the military. However, many veterans view it as just asking others for help, and this isn't accurate. At its core, networking is about building relationships of trust and mutual benefit. It requires effort from both parties and leads to benefits for everyone. One person might benefit today and another tomorrow, but everyone benefits in the long run. Networking starts with a connection. Trust is then built upon that connection. After this, individuals can assist each other and collaborate personally and professionally. Networking is a skill that requires you to invest time with the intent of helping others, not just yourself. An important rule of thumb is that you only get out what you put in. Here's why networking is so important to a successful transition. In today's job market, you need to stand out from the competition. And the most effective way to do this is by having some type of connection with the hiring manager. If not the hiring manager directly, you need to be connected with someone they know and trust before the hiring decision is made. You can read more about the 5 ways employers find talent in our networking guidebook. Download a copy at our website and look for the section on networks and net worth. Yes, your network will determine your ultimate net worth, and we explain this in the guidebook. It's simple yet scientific. People tend to hire others they like, trust, and have a positive connection with. Think about that for a second. People hire people they like, trust, and have a positive connection with. An important lesson you need to understand prior to the transition is the difference between the open job market and the hidden or closed job market. Let's talk about the open job market first. The open job market includes positions advertised to the public through corporate websites, social media, and online job boards. This approach allows both current employees and external candidates to apply for positions. Upon receipt, the company's human resources department reviews the resumes collected from the advertisement. Candidates who meet the company's eligibility criteria move forward in the process and are added to a pool of resumes for the hiring manager's consideration. Since anyone can apply for the job opening, the process appears fair. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Here's why. Many companies advertise positions because it's their policy. However, they might already have someone in mind to fill the position. By advertising, they appear to give everyone an opportunity. Yet they still hire someone they selected beforehand. This can be misleading and frustrating. Another issue is that some job advertisements remain visible long after the positions are filled. This leads to additional applications that won't be considered. These inactive advertisements can stay online for weeks or even months, creating further confusion and frustration. The bottom line is clear. Blindly applying to open job postings can often be a waste of time. A good rule of thumb is to never assume an organization will hire solely based on an advertised posting. Instead of relying on online applications, we recommend leveraging your network to help access the hidden job market. But what exactly is the hidden job market? The hidden job market is how companies fill most of their key positions. In fact, some experts estimate that up to 80% of the positions are filled this way. Unlike the open job market, opportunities in the hidden job market aren't publicly advertised. Only company insiders know about these openings. Here's an important point. Most companies always have positions available, and they're constantly searching for the right talent to fill these roles. However, only those with inside access truly know what opportunities exist and when these positions might be filled. So, how do you unlock the hidden job market? It all comes down to connections. Having an existing relationship with a hiring manager or building a positive connection with them is the key. If you don't have a direct connection with the hiring manager, another option is to leverage someone in your network whom the hiring manager knows and trusts. This person must be willing to advocate for you with the hiring manager and those involved in the hiring process. It's worth noting that even with an inside connection, you might still need to submit a resume and follow the company's formal application process. But here's the difference. With someone on the inside, your resume is far more likely to land in the right hands, and the process might be even fast-tracked because of their assistance. Picture this. The hiring team is reviewing the final group of resumes. It could be 10 resumes or just one, yours. But your application is at the top of the pile, thanks to your connections. Now, let's summarize the key lessons about the hidden job market. The majority of available positions go unadvertised, and only company insiders are aware of them. Your network, the people you know, and the people they know, is your greatest asset. These connections can help you discover job opportunities and help you land roles that other candidates aren't aware of. Even with an inside connection, you might be asked to follow the company's standard application process when submitting your resume. But having an advocate on the inside gives you a significant advantage, and the likelihood of success improves significantly when trusted insiders become active champions for you. There's no question about it. This is the best way to find your next career. After reading our networking guidebook, you should understand that employers source talent in 5 ways, and personal connections are often the deciding factor. The bottom line is that networking is the key to success in today's job market. Our guidebook also talks about the DoD Skill Bridge program, which is a great way to build connections as you transition. We highly endorse this program and recommend applying. Finally, we suggest finding mentors through organizations like American Corporate Partners, ACP, and through other veteran service organizations or local community organizations. Your network can assist with many aspects of the transition, specifically how to translate your skills and experience, which is the next best practice. Learning how to translate your skills and experience. Best practice number 4. Research shows that learning how to translate military skills and experience can be difficult and time-consuming. It's one of the most challenging aspects of a successful transition, yet one of the most important. In fact, 83% of veterans say learning how to translate your skills and experience is extremely or very important. The intent when translating skills and experience is to show employers the value you bring to their organization, so they'll want you on their team. The unfortunate truth is that many companies don't understand the military, so they prioritize hiring talent through other sources. These organizations don't invest the time or train the recruiters to understand what it means to serve, or how military training and experience brings value. In this situation, the burden falls on service members to demonstrate their value in ways companies understand. This is what translating your skills and experience really means. When translating skills, you should focus on language, alignment, and clarity. Language. Using military terms and acronyms is like speaking a foreign language to employers. It confuses them and decreases the likelihood of success. The earlier you begin using civilian language, both written and verbal, the better. Ask your network to help develop ways to explain your skills and experiences to those who have never served. Remove acronyms, jargon, and phrases that confuse listeners and speak in terms hiring managers understand. Alignment and clarity. Communication with employers should demonstrate how your skills and experience align with their needs. To do this, you must understand the position along with the skills and experience required. After this, focus on how you'll use these to deliver value. One of the best ways to discuss relevant skills, experiences, and accomplishments is by telling stories. Everyone likes a good story, right? Well, we do when the story is short, interesting, and relevant. The key is to make interview responses into short, interesting, and relevant stories that pique interest while answering the hiring manager's questions. First, you need to provide the context so they understand your story. What's the situation, the problem to solve, or the goal to achieve? Next, you can talk about how you applied a skill that's important in the role you're interviewing for. If the position requires analytical skill, talk about how you analyze the situation to identify the best solution. If fiscal responsibility is important, talk about how you identified a cost-effective solution. After this, you must highlight the specific actions taken to solve the problem or achieve the goal, along with emphasizing the positive outcomes you generated. Remember to always focus on your actions and the result you generated, while avoiding discussions about the team. Why? The answer is simple. Employers are interested in hiring you, not your team. This means you need to learn how to talk about yourself and your accomplishments, not the team, in ways that are clear and aligned with an employer's needs. One of the best ways to address the challenge of communicating with employers is to ask your network to help prepare for written and in-person exchanges. Written exchanges with employers. Resumes are a big part of the hiring process, but there are additional ways to share written content such as cover letters, applications, LinkedIn profiles, and emails. Ask someone to review your resume and other correspondence before sending. A quick review is always helpful and can pay dividends. Understand that inconsistencies between your resume and online profiles, specifically LinkedIn, may generate red flags that cause readers to doubt your credibility. Always double-check these items. In-person exchanges with employers. Never forget that resumes get you invited and interviews get you hired. Let me say that again to reinforce the importance. Resumes get you invited and interviews get you hired. After submitting your resume, always be ready to speak with a potential employer, in person, by phone, or online. Another important lesson is to practice what you'll say beforehand. With the help of your network, create talking points for each position along with relevant and interesting stories. You only get one chance, so make it count. Next, you should practice by speaking to yourself in the mirror, and then listen to the recording on your phone. Keep practicing until your delivery is smooth. Once the flow is smooth, ask someone to listen and provide feedback on the delivery and content. Do this until all key messages are clear and smooth. The ultimate goal is to ensure your next career is both rewarding and successful, and our next best practice is specifically focused on this outcome. Best practice number 5, be patient and persistent. Becoming a mission-ready warrior didn't happen overnight. It required significant time and effort. The goal of becoming a high-performing civilian will require the same level of commitment. Please don't forget this lesson and get discouraged or distracted when challenges occur during the transition and reintegration process. Here are some lessons from the veterans who have gone before you. Lesson number 1. Civilian employers don't always make the process easy. Many employers don't respond in a timely manner, and some don't respond at all. Don't take this personally. I'll say that again. Please don't take this personally. It's just business. The lesson here is, when conducting follow-up actions, be persistent, but don't become a pain. Lesson number 2. You might need to take a step back prior to making a leap forward. You have the skills and experience to be successful in the civilian workforce, and just need to learn the culture and language. After this, you're unstoppable. Lesson number 3. Invest time for recovery and begin your next career ready to excel. The process of preparing for retirement events or separation celebrations, along with training a replacement and household moves, can be exhausting. Give yourself time and the ability to recover before starting your next career, so you're energized and ready to make a positive impact. Lesson number 4. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being during the transition. This one's simple. You should establish positive routines during the transition to ensure post-military freedoms don't become a curse. Lesson number 5. You need to determine a civilian identity and begin living this persona. No one in the civilian workforce really cares that you're a veteran or understands what it means to be a sergeant major, colonel, or chief. They only care who you are now, so be purposeful when determining your new identity. Lesson number 6. No one owes you anything. Companies only hire candidates because they add value and contribute to the bottom line. Your status as a veteran is irrelevant if you can't perform the duties required. Learn how to use the skills gained from your military experience to add value and make yourself indispensable. Lesson number 7. Learn and grow using informational interviews. A technique we recommend you begin now and continue throughout your civilian career is to learn from others through informational interviews. Think of these as focused career discussions, rather than traditional interviews aimed at securing a position. These are generally in-person meetings to discuss career experiences, lessons, and advice. You can also meet virtually, but in-person meetings are generally more effective. Invite someone to have coffee or lunch, and ask them questions about their career, industry, role, education, training, organization, and general thoughts or advice to help you grow. Do your homework before attending, so you don't waste anyone's time. These are only for you to learn, so please don't ask the other person for a job. However, if they introduce the topic, then you're safe to discuss it. These sessions can also lead to introductions or follow-up conversations with others that have useful insights or access to roles of interest. After the session, send a thank you note or an email. Also, be sure to accomplish anything you committed during the session. Closing thoughts on the issue of navigating the military transition. This guidebook discussed 5 transition best practices based on 2 decades of working with service members, veterans, and thousands of survey responses. The lesson contained in this book can be used as a template to better navigate the journey from military service to civilian workforce. But you need to go beyond this and invest the time and energy. The online version of this book, along with the other free transition guidebooks, are a great starting point. In addition, our website contains resources and links to organizations we recommend. Also, look us up on LinkedIn and let us know how we can be of service now or in the future. We also encourage you to discuss these lessons with mentors as you plan and execute your transition. Our last bit of advice is to always remember it's your future and you are responsible. Step up, take charge, and make it what you want it to be. Throughout this audiobook, I mention additional ebooks that provide greater depths on issues related to the transition process. These books are free to download and can be accessed at our website. The current titles available are Truths About the Military Transition, Winning the Employment Game, Veteran Edition, Military to Civilian Transition Challenges, Military to Civilian Transition Mistakes, Networking for the Military Transition, Planning for the Military Transition, and After the Military Transition. Please utilize these free resources and let us know how we can be of assistance. This concludes the audiobook version of Navigating the Military Transition from Military.Transition.org. Copyright 2024 by Military.Transition.org.